In my first video of the OnePlus 7 Pro, I said it's the best phone I have ever used. Do I still feel this way? Well, I've used the phone for about 45 days and here are my thoughts. Before we get in today's video, let's talk about today's sponsor, Upsy. Nobody wants to talk about insurance, but it's something that needs to be talked about with these phones being so expensive. Upsy disrupts the industry by saving up to 70% on warranties compared to retailers. Upsy works with national certified repair shops like YouBreak, iFix, for example. You can make a claim 24/7 by talking to a real person. Upsy also stores your receipts and device info, so making a claim is very simple. Save 10% with your first purchase with Upsy using my code TechNinja. What's going on, guys? Kevin the Tech Ninja here, and today we're talking about all things OnePlus 7 Pro. I've used this phone a ton since it came out, and now that we're past the honeymoon phase, I wanted to give some final thoughts and some final opinions, and also after a couple updates were pushed out too. The way I do things on my channel, I do an initial video, which is like an initial review, and then I wait about 30 days or so, wait for some updates to come out, and then give some final thoughts, and that's where we're at right now. The first thing we need to discuss is the price. That's one of OnePlus's main cornerstones, as they named themselves the flagship killer in the past. As flagship prices get higher, so does the OnePlus. But it's still cheaper than other flagship phones, which in my opinion allows it to be that flagship killer. And what OnePlus does too is that they give you a cheaper phone with better specs than flagships, which to me is unheard of. The OnePlus that I'm using is the Big Daddy. It's 12 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage, and it retails for $750. And this lands it snugly between the Galaxy S10e and the iPhone XR. There's also that cheaper version, which still is no slouch, 6 gigabytes of RAM and 128 gigabytes of storage for $699. And for most people, I think this is gonna be the one to get. In my experience, I don't think 12 gigabytes of RAM is necessary, as the 6 gigabyte version has plenty of RAM to handle every task you throw at it. However, if you do want the highest spec phone you can find, you plan to keep the phone a few years, then yeah, go with the best spec phone you can find. And for the most part, that's going to be the OnePlus 7 Pro. This phone is blazing fast. It's the fastest phone I have ever used. Everything I open is instant. Switching between apps is buttery smooth too. Now, the one thing that is very impressive is the 90 Hertz screen. I gotta admit, I thought it was a gimmick at first, but once I used it, you can see the difference instantly. Here is a slow motion shot between 90 Hertz and 60 Hertz on this phone, scrolling on Twitter and switching apps. Although it's subtle, you can definitely see it in slow motion, and in video it's really hard to see, but in person most people are really impressed by the screen and they, can't put a finger on what it is, and typically it's going to be that screen and those hertz. I would say this screen ruined a lot of other phones for me, because when I go back to 60 Hertz, there is a definite difference and the phone feels a little bit laggy now when you're not on 90 Hertz. Now, speaking of screen, the screen covers the whole front of the phone, and this is the whole thing. Now, some people are going to complain that you have phantom presses, and what a phantom press is, meaning when you're holding your phone thinks it's touching the screen. Now, since there's really no bezels to hold on to, a lot of people are going to press on the screen when they're not trying to. A great way to alleviate this is obviously having a case, and this is the case for many other phones too that don't have any bezels. Galaxy S10 suffers for the exact same thing too, and to me, I don't think it's a big deal. Regardless, this phone just feels super premium in the hand, and it's worth every penny. And I'll say the build quality is comparable to even more expensive phones. The color that I have on this phone is blue, and I think it looks really good. It shimmers, it shines, it has a color shifting thing that I like, and it does get dirty and gets fingerprints, but overall I just think it looks good. There's also a almond color that I didn't get, but I still think the blue color looks the best. Now, if you don't like those colors and rather have something with some texture, then my sponsor Dbrand has something to say about that. Dbrand gives you custom skins for your device in a variety of colors. It has textures, colors, and just a unique look for around $10. Hit the link down below to Dbrand your device. So the phone does have 3 cameras on the back. You have a standard focal length, a 3x zoom, and a wide angle. But does more lenses mean a better camera? No. I think the camera falls behind the competition. It's not a great camera, but it's a good camera. With updates, it became a better camera, and it does better with dynamic range and doesn't overexpose as much, but it still doesn't have the punch of the Pixel or Galaxy S10 or even iPhone. For fast motion, the shutter is slow, and burst photos are not as fast as other phones in its price range. The video is solid, giving you some decent audio levels, but once again, it's nothing to write home about. The camera is solid, but a step forward in one direction, but a step back in other directions. Step forward with adding you extra lenses and focal lengths, but a step back because image quality didn't get that much better, as they made a huge deal about the camera. For a lot of people, that's not a big deal because the camera takes good enough photos, but for someone who's spoiled by using the Pixel, it's really hard for me to judge a different camera based off what I'm used to seeing and what I know is possible. If you're going to talk about cameras as much as you do in your press conferences, then I need to see a camera that reflects this. Now, one cool thing about the camera that everyone knows about is that the front facing camera slides out the top of the phone. It's definitely a gimmick, but if you really think about it, it does a couple extra things. Number one, it does eliminate a need for a notch or even front bezels. And number two, it does protect the lens. Also, if you're going to drop it or it's falling or anything like that, it will then protect itself by going back into your phone. So it has sort of these coping mechanisms to not get hurt. And also they did a test and hung 50 pounds from it and it was still fine. So it's not flimsy. A lot of people always ask, will it break if it gets hit? I don't think it will break because there's been some testing on it. And yeah, I think this is a great first implementation of it and I'm very impressed with it. One thing I really dig is the volume toggle on the side. You can set it up to go mute, vibrate, or ring depending on how you flick, the side button, and also all the settings that you do once you go into your phone. I really like it because when I go into a building, I just want to flick it to silent and not worry about it. Sometimes now with my current phone, when I turn the volume down, I think the volume is down, but then when I go to some type of media, then the medium volume is up, and you know, it creates a lot of confusion. I just like to have a switch that I can always look at, a visible reminder, and okay, bet I'm on vibrate, and then go on with my day. On the left flank, you have the volume rockers up top. OnePlus is hiding that camera. We just talked about it, and you just activate it by turning on the camera and then pressing the front facing camera button, and then it slides up in this kind of really cool way. And then you have the on-screen fingerprint scanner, which actually is pretty fast. Not as fast as the in-body fingerprint scanners that we've been used to, but it's much faster than other implementations of the in-body fingerprint scanner. It's pretty darn fast, and I actually do prefer it over Face ID, but when you go back to a regular, built-in on the phone fingerprint scanner, those are always going to be faster, but for cool factor, in-screen is really nice, and I think it's fast enough where it doesn't hinder anything I'm doing. I think the OnePlus 7's secret sauce is a combination of great hardware and software that is light and optimized. This phone has also received 2 updates that tightened up a few weird quirks that I found. The software is super customizable, being able to change the theme and subcolor, and this gives your phone a unique look compared to others. Also in settings, you can adjust color settings on the screen and a ton of other things right in the phone. This phone is the phone for people who like to tinker. I remember back in the day when I worked for XA developers, always talking about ROMs and things that you can customize and apps you had to sideload. Well, built into the phone, this has a lot of those features, and really nice to see this stock on a phone. Really cool. Now let's talk about battery life. If you go Quad HD and a 90 Hertz screen, I found myself from 7 a.m. to midnight, my battery is pretty much dying. I may have 7% or I may be at 0%. So if I know I'm not gonna be home all day and may need to get a little bit more juice out of it, I'll change the screen to 60 Hertz, which pains me to do so, but then I go down to 1080p resolution. And when I do that, I'm going from 7 a.m. to midnight, and the lowest I'll be at is 15%, but a lot of times I'm in the 20s, and that's just enough to get me to where I need to get to and still have enough battery life where I can still use my phone. The conclusion I'm gonna make is very simple. If this is the phone in your price range, get it. This is the best Android phone you can buy as far as specs and performance, and then you factor in price, it makes it all the merrier. Of course, it's not the best when it comes to the camera, and there's a couple other things that may not put it in the best category, but for a lot of features that are important to a lot of people and the ability to tinker, and it's a huge community behind it, this phone is gonna be great for many, many years to come. But OnePlus always puts a phone out every 6 months, so if this isn't the phone for you, wait 5 months and OnePlus will make another one. Anyways guys, I'm Kevin the Tech Ninja. Have a great day. I'll catch you guys later.